Hello students, today we will start the new chapter of chemistry and that is atoms and molecules. So all of you watch carefully the video. It is the foundation of chemistry. So in ninth, atoms and molecules are very important to understand. So before talking about atoms and molecules, I want first to talk about elements and compounds. You have learned about elements and compounds in previous chapters also, but just a quick brief of what is element and compound I will talk about in this lecture also. So about the elements, what are elements? All of you know, element is the basic form of matter. Now matter, you know what is matter? Matter is a substance which has some mass and it has some volume. So it is matter. And what is element? Element is the basic form of matter. What do we mean by basic form? Basic form is which cannot be broken down further into simpler forms by chemical reactions. That is, what is element? Element is the basic form or the fundamental form of matter which cannot be divided or which cannot be broken down further in simpler forms. So this is element. And we till date we study about 118 elements, though we know more. Now more are discovered, but still we learn about only 118. Out of these 118 elements, some are metals, some are non-metals, and others are metalloids. You studied it in previous chapters. So metals are like aluminium, iron, gold, silver. Non-metals, all the gases, they are non-metals like hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, sulfur. These are non-metals. And metalloids, germanium, silicon, these are non-metals. So these are elements. And now, and the fundamental, so first we talk about compounds. What are compounds? When two or more than two elements combined together chemically by some chemical reaction in fixed proportion by mass, then it is a compound. I will explain with some examples. Suppose this is one block, this is the second block, and this is the third block. So in this, suppose I am writing calcium. Calcium, calcium, calcium. Ca is the symbol of calcium and calcium is a metal. So this block is made up of the same type of particles and these particles are of calcium. So what should be this block? This block should be an element. And the ultimate unit will be calcium. And calcium cannot be broken further into simpler form. So a block which is made up of same type of particles repeatedly, it is an element. Now suppose this is oxygen. O is the symbol for oxygen. I made the other block having all the oxygens. So what should be this block? This block should also be an example of element where this non-metal oxygen is present as a basic unit. All the units of this element oxygen is OOO. All the oxygen atoms are present in this block. So this is also an element because all the basic units, they are same. Here also it is element of metal, it is element of non-metal. Here all the basic units are of calcium. Now suppose a third I have taken where this calcium combines with oxygen chemically and calcium oxide is formed. Now this calcium oxide is a compound, and the basic unit of this compound is now CaO, calcium and oxygen. So what this block represent? This block represent a compound. So as per the definition of compound, two are there, two or more elements combined together by chemical reaction. Chemically, they have certain bondings, certain force of attraction between them. So they held together. So what is a compound? Two or more than two elements, they combine together chemically in a fixed proportion. That is, here we are seeing one Ca and one O is there. So the proportion is fixed, but this proportion 1:1 is by number. This proportion should be by mass. So they are joined together, they are combined together in a fixed proportion by mass. So it is a compound. So in this way, these are elements and this is a compound. There may be compounds of more than two elements, like ammonia. Ammonia has two, like calcium carbonate. Calcium plus carbon plus oxygen. Calcium carbonate is also a compound having three elements. So in this way, this is elements and this is compound. Now after element and compound, one thing is left. Now we come to the atoms and molecules. So the word atom, it is first of all given by Democritus. He was a very well-known scientist, philosopher. So Democritus has given a word atomos, a Latin word atomos, which means indivisible. Indivisible means which cannot be divided further into smaller units. Atom cannot divide further. But now we know, with more researches in today's scenario, we know atoms can be divided into proton, neutron and electron. But at the time of Democritus, he said that atoms, and the meaning of the word atomos is indivisible. So the meaning of the word atom is indivisible, which cannot divide further, and this is the basic unit of each and every matter, like the element. That is, each and every substance on this earth, it is made up of atoms. Like bricks made a house, or the cells make our body. Likewise, the fundamental unit of matter is atom. Each and everything is made up of atoms, and this is the functional unit. Although atoms can be divided further, but the functional unit as a whole, the atom should be, all the three subparticles of the atom should be included in atom for it to function. So this is atom in brief. Now about the molecules. We have done element, compound and atoms. Now what are molecules? Molecules are made up by the combination of atoms. Two or more than two atoms, they combine together again by chemical reaction to form a molecule. And this molecule again can be of two types: molecules of elements and molecules of compounds. Now what is this? What are molecule? Is a molecule. Now what is difference between molecules of elements and molecules of compounds? I have just told you how the molecules are formed. Molecules are formed when two or more than two atoms combine chemically in fixed proportion. Then a molecule is formed. But these atoms of elements may be same or different. Are you following? If the elements are same, that is, if suppose the atoms of hydrogen and hydrogen are taken, this is also hydrogen, this is also hydrogen, what will be formed? Hydrogen gas will be formed, and this H2 is the molecule of element hydrogen, and both the atoms here are of the same element. So if the molecule of the same elements are present together, we just say it a molecule. Like the other examples are oxygen, nitrogen and many more. So if only one type of element is present in a molecule, we call it simply a molecule of element. But if, what is the molecule of compound? If different elements are present in fixed proportion, joined chemically, then it form a molecule. Again it is a molecule, but it is of a compound. So the examples are, the simple one are carbon dioxide and water. This is a compound. Carbon dioxide is a compound. Why? Because it is made up of two different type of elements, and if the both are same, then it is just a molecule. If two different are present, then it is a compound. So carbon dioxide, this water, ammonia, you can take any, methane, all these are compounds, and they are made up of different type of molecule, different type of atoms. But are they molecule? I have written here molecules of compound. So are they molecules? Yes, they are very much molecule. CO2 is one molecule of carbon dioxide compound. What does it mean? It means that all the compounds are molecules, but all the molecules are not compound. This is a molecule, this is a molecule, this is a molecule, but they are not compounds. They are just the molecules of elements. All these are molecules as well as compounds. Why they are compounds? Because different type of elements join together, combine together in chemical reaction to form these compounds. And this is, we can have one molecule of carbon dioxide, we can have two molecules of carbon dioxide, these are two molecules of carbon dioxide, one molecule of carbon dioxide. So this is a molecule, these are molecules as well as compounds. So this is just in brief about element, compounds, atoms and molecules. Now at the end of 18th century, scientists wanted to know about how these atoms or molecules, they combine together in chemical reaction. How and why they are combining, and what is the result of combination. So first of all, two scientists, and the name of these scientists were Antoine Lavoisier and Proust. They established two important laws of chemical combination. So at the end of 18th century, what are the name of the scientists? The name is Antoine Lavoisier is one of them, and he with Proust. This is the other scientist, very famous scientist. And Lavoisier even name element, the definition of element, it is also given by Lavoisier. So both of them, they established certain laws, and these laws are known as laws of chemical combination. That is, what is chemical combination? That how two or more elements or molecules, or you can say atoms, how they combine, why they are combining, and what is the result of their combination. So the two laws of chemical combination, very important law, and they form the foundation of chemistry. And these laws, the first is law of conservation of mass, and the second law is law of constant proportion or law of definite proportion or law of definite composition. So the first is law of conservation of mass. We will describe it first. I am writing the second law here. Law of constant proportions or law of definite proportions. So this is the second law. This law is given by Proust mainly, and this law is given by Lavoisier, though both of them they work together to establish the laws of chemical combination. Now what is the law of conservation of mass? You should know what is the meaning of the word conservation. The meaning of the word conservation is like something like preservation, to preserve, or you can say constant, or you can say unchanged, which is not changing. So conservation is, you have heard about the conservation of wildlife, conservation of jungles, conservation of tiger species. So like it is preserved or it remains unconstant, or we do not want it to change. So conservation is, if the mass remain unchanged, then we say it is law of conservation of mass. So what is this? We know in a chemical equation, all of you know, suppose this is a chemical equation. All of you know, suppose this is a chemical equation. A and B, they are known as reactants. C and D, they are known as products. So what this law says, that is mass of A and D should be equal to C and D before combination, before the reaction takes place, and after the reaction takes place. So there are two definitions. We can write two definitions of law of conservation of mass. The first is mass can neither be created nor be destroyed. So this is the first definition. Mass can neither be created nor be destroyed. And about the second definition is, that is mass of substances before reaction, before a chemical reaction is equal to mass of substances after reaction. What does it mean? That is mass of reactants is equal to mass of products. It means mass does not change. So what is law of conservation of mass? Mass is conserved. That is, if this is the chemical reaction, A plus B should be equal to C plus D. Mass of these both should be equal to mass of C and D. So the definition, mass can neither be created nor be destroyed. Second, mass of substances before the chemical reaction is equal to the mass of substances after the reaction has taken place. Mass of reactant is equal to mass of product. This we will prove, establish by a simple experiment. And this experiment is very simple. we can do a simple activities there. I suppose this is a conical flask. We have taken a conical flask, about 10 ml sodium sulfate. You have to learn the formula of different compounds. This is, what is this? Sodium sulfate. So 10 ml of sodium sulfate is taken and it is covered by a cork, and a small tube known as ignition tube. It is taken and it has a different substance, and that substance is barium chloride. This is the formula for barium chloride. So barium chloride is taken in this ignition tube, and this setup, it is weighed, and suppose the mass of this setup is 300 grams. Now what we have to do next? We will invert or tilt this apparatus so that this tube, it is inverted, it is tilted, and all barium chloride comes in the solution of Na2SO4. What will happen? They both will mix and chemical reaction takes place. And what will be the chemical reaction? Very simple. It is Na2SO4 plus BaCl2 will be equal to 2NaCl plus BaSO4. Sodium chloride, common salt will be formed, barium sulfate will be formed, and this reaction will take place in this conical flask. So these are two reactants. They are altogether different by these two products. It is sodium sulfate, it is sodium chloride. It is barium chloride, it is barium sulfate. Two different compounds are formed, reactants are different and products are different. But if we weigh this setup again, it will be 300 like the setup before the reaction. So after and before the reaction, the mass does not change. The mass remains same. That is, mass is conserved. This is how we can establish this law of conservation of mass. We can have other examples also. Suppose we have this calcium carbonate and it is 100 grams by mass. So when it is heated, what happened? Calcium oxide is formed and carbon dioxide is formed. If we collect this carbon dioxide and weigh it, the mass of carbon dioxide will be 44 grams and mass of this calcium oxide will be 56 grams. So together 100 is equal to, so 56 plus 44, they will be equal to 100. What does it mean? It means that before heating the calcium chloride, when it is heated and it is broken down into calcium oxide and carbon dioxide, the same mass is produced which is before the reaction. So this is how there are many examples about the oxidation of methane. Any chemical reaction you take and you will see that mass before and after will be same. So this is how first law of conservation of mass is established. Now coming to the second law of definite proportion or constant proportion. What does it mean? Definite proportion or constant proportion? This law is given by Proust. The name of the scientist was Proust. And according to this law, a chemical compound, the proportion of a compound is made up of elements, different elements. So the proportion of the elements which form a chemical compound by chemical combination will be in definite proportion by mass. Are you following? So what is proportion law of constant proportion of law of definite proportion? In a compound, different elements in a compound different elements combined chemically in fixed proportions by mass. So what does it mean? We will understand by taking some examples. First of all, I am taking the example of water. This is the formula. Do you know the atomic mass of hydrogen? The atomic mass of hydrogen is 1. As 2 hydrogens are present, so 1 into 2 will be 2. Gram atomic mass will be 2 grams. Suppose, or it is just 2. The atomic mass of oxygen is 16. So what is the proportion of hydrogen and oxygen in water? It is 2:16. 2 hydrogen and 16 oxygen. So the proportion is 2:16. Or if we simplify it, it is 1:8. So always the proportion of hydrogen and oxygen in water is 1:8. And it is, if we take this water from anywhere, it may be river water, it may be tap water, it may be pond water. From everywhere, it may be water of Bhavnagar, it may be water of anywhere else. So from everywhere, or it may be the water of Mars, the other planet. So this water, if it is water, a molecule of water, it will always have hydrogen and oxygen in the ratio 1:8 by mass. It is always fixed. So it is written here in a compound. Suppose the compound is water, different elements combined together, that is hydrogen and oxygen, they are combining together in fixed proportion by mass. Always from wherever this water is procured, the this is always 1:8. We can have other examples also, like ammonia. This is the formula of ammonia. Always 1:3 is equal to 14:3. Always nitrogen and hydrogen will combine in this ratio in ammonia. Whether this ammonia we procure it from the atmosphere, or it is prepared in lab, or from anywhere, always it will be 14:3. Take anything. If you have carbon dioxide, it will be always 12:32, or 1:2. 1:2? 12, 32. So no, it cannot be 1:2. Between 3 and it is always 3:8. Always by mass, the proportion of carbon and oxygen in carbon dioxide is 3:8. This proportion is fixed if it is carbon dioxide. We can have it from the atmosphere, we can have it by burning of the fuel, anywhere. The carbon dioxide will have carbon and oxygen in the fixed proportion 3:8. So this is known as law of constant proportion or law of definite proportion. So these are two laws given by Lavoisier and Proust, and this is all for this lecture. In the next lecture, we will learn further about this topic. Thank you.